Let's say a young guy, he's working in software engineer, even a medical profession, who doesn't have a good night sleep schedule. And you're being interrupted, late night shifts, night shift workers. In your young 20 to 30 years of age, I feel like they are pushing themselves to exert whatever the work is needed.
Yes.
But I think that might be a risk factor for them to develop non-communicable disease down the road.
Absolutely. I mean, you use the word non-communicable diseases, and when we ask people, what are the non-communicable diseases? The first thing they'll say is, obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, stroke, high cholesterol. Nobody talks about sleep disorders.
Correct.
I think it's a more common non-communicable disorder than all of these that I mentioned, and it probably leads to several of these.
Oh my God.
And leads to uncontrolled non-communicable diseases as well. So to be honest, every opportunity I get, I keep mentioning that the World Health Organization should list this as a non-communicable disease. Sleep disorders need to be listed. Only then I think the awareness would be much, much better.
But I don't think that people are tying down the sleep quality to the development of an ailment. I think I did some basic sense research with brain-gut axis on mice in Stanford and San Diego, UCSD, and also in Stanford in California. What we did was, we will run the mice overnight and we'll check the hormone levels in the morning. We will have a deep night's sleep with the mice and then check the hormone levels in the morning. The quality and the quantity is absolutely mind-blowing.
Absolutely. See, I think you are bringing a very important issue. Okay, so our body has several rhythms. One is the, like what we call the diurnal rhythm, like basically like day and night, what is going on. Second is we have an internal clock, which is slightly longer than 24 hours. It's 24.5 hours. So that's what we call the circadian rhythm. And then there are what we call ultradian rhythms, where, internally multiple repetitive rhythms happen. So even during sleep, all these different stages of sleep may happen about 3 or 4 cycles. So that's the ultradian rhythm of sleep. Now, why this is important is, there are certain hormones that are secreted based on day or night, irrespective of your sleep pattern. So that's where shift workers get hugely affected. And same thing with the circadian rhythm. Like there are certain hormones, certain things that change, particularly melatonin, based on like your sleep, your day, night, all of those would be changing. So it's very important for us to understand that it's not only important to sleep enough, sleep good quality, but sleep at the right time. Okay, so and our body's design is to sleep at night. Now I totally understand what you said. Even as doctors, we've all done night shifts, but there are ways to do it. There are ways to cope with it, rather than like let go of getting good sleep, which has a huge impact. I mean, so many youngsters are coming with cardiac problems. Infertility is increasing, mainly because all the sex hormones are completely messed up when you're doing the,
infertility can be related to night shifts.
Absolutely. And also, like irregular menstrual periods, again, because of female hormones, can be related to shift work. And I think people are getting increasingly cognizant about it, and we need to work on, creating more awareness before it's too late.
I am afraid that it is too late already in fewer populations.
Yes.
In many stages where I go, people say that, okay, so I'm a night shift worker, give me some tips, diet tips. The first tip that I say is that if possible, quit the job. That is the true story, right? Do you agree? But it's not practically possible. But when somebody is in night shift, they should understand that you are going against your normal circadian rhythm. So you are starting the innings with 1 wicket down already.
True. But, there are, as you rightly said, we can't tell everybody to change the job or quit. And, it is also not practical for me as a sleep physician to write for everyone saying, hey, he or she should not do night shifts. That's not fair as well.
Correct.
So I always tell people that understand what is happening to your system. For example, let's say you're doing a fixed night shift. When you go to work, you are eating breakfast, whereas others are eating dinner. So dinner has to be light. They are all eating light. You can have a heavy breakfast. Whatever they are making at home, you can have it heavy. During the night time when you're working, there's a lot of contradictions happening around you. externally it's dark. Your system wants to, your body wants to sleep. Whereas there's like bright light right in front of you. You know, you're working on systems which tells you to stay awake and you have to focus. So, you know, lighting the environment appropriately and, you know, making sure that it can work would make a difference. Similarly, during the night time, make sure that whatever you have is light lunch. Okay. Now, unfortunately, because they work night, half the time they only get junk food.
Correct.
That's available. And that's what they tend to eat at night. And then we tell them avoid caffeine about an hour or two after lunch because you're going to go and sleep in a few hours. We always tell people to avoid coffee for about 5 hours. And in the morning when they come back, I tell them that make sure, if possible, carpool. And then, you know, that way you can, you know, cover your eyes with eye shades, prepare your body to sleep because it's very bright outside and you have to prepare your system to sleep. And you go home and the world is eating breakfast, but you're eating dinner. So make sure it's light. And then when you go to bed, make sure that the room is conducive to sleep at night, during the daytime. And more importantly, tell your family not to wake you up for lunch because nobody eats when they are sleeping continuously. And keep your phone away because the world is awake and they're going to try to reach you because they don't know you're sleeping. Okay, with the cell phone usage. So I tell them, you know, practice a lot of these things. It definitely makes a difference.
It makes a difference, yeah. You know, I had a patient. You know, he was 28-year-old. Had a heart attack and was in ICU with cardiogenic shock. 22. He worked in one of the software, I think Tesla in Bay Area when they were there. And I got consulted because he had severe abdominal pain. So I went there and, you know, he did an endoscopy. His stomach is completely ripped. Okay, it is so red and angry. He's an Indian guy. And, you know, we had a very nice conversation and I said that, you know, why are you doing all this? And he said that, you know, I'm in a very prestigious position. I'm in a senior associate vice director or something like that. And Tesla is like so growing, right? And, you know, I like to be there. I love to be there. And I'm growing in my career. So I said one thing to him is that this is the exact same mistake that I did. That in my medical career, I kept on studying, and then finally ended up in a very nice position in my career. But I abused my body so much that I started having problems when I was 33, 34. Yeah. You were 28. So the problem happened 8 years ago or 9 years ago when you were started. So I want you to think through that your sleeping habits is the precipitating factor for this heart attack.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So in fact, that's how I got interested in sleep medicine. You know, I'm basically a critical care physician. So in the ICU, I found number one, that there are so many people who come with, let's say, young strokes, young heart attacks, who've had sleep disorders, you know, like whether it is insomnia or whether it is sleep apnea, any of those undetected, you know, totally nobody. There are so many people who come young with a heart attack. They would have already been seeing somebody for blood pressure, somebody for diabetes. They would have even felt sleepy, you know, had accidents and have been seen by ER and ortho, several people, but never the sleep issue was addressed. That is how I got interested in sleep medicine, being a critical care physician.
Wow.
And more importantly, I also noticed that while in the ICU, patients don't sleep well just because of the environment.
Correct.
And the families don't sleep because they are anxious. So there's a lot of, you know, sleep related things that are going on either for the patients or for those, you know, family and near and dear. So that's how I got interested in sleep medicine and pursued it.
I wish, as you said, the more awareness about sleep, if somebody takes it very seriously,
yes.
I think this podcast, whoever is listening to it, should clearly understand that if you don't have good sleep, all these diseases are just waiting to come.
Absolutely.
So focus on the quality of sleep.